Hi all, in this video let's learn few points which will help us as a web developer. So this is a part 10 of the playlist. I will keep all the remaining videos as a playlist at the end of the video. Please watch them as well. So let's discuss one by one point. Okay, let me open this. Fine. So as a web developers, so many times we used to write CSS. Okay, so let me write one of the CSS. Okay, let's say just a class name. Okay, now I used to use border. Usually we used to use borders, but if you're mentioning 0 pixel, so most of the time we'll be using like this border 0 pixel, margin on 0 pixel. But remember one thing, when you are defining it with a 0, you no need to mention any units. Okay, avoid specifying the units if you are using the 0 as a value, because if you're using 0, even if it is a percentage, rem or a pixel, anything is the same, right? So that's the reason, try to avoid specifying the units if the value is 0. So this is the first point we need to understand. So coming to the second points, so let's take this like a margin. Okay, say margin top, hmm, 0.5 pixel. So instead of this, so 0.5 pixel, so you can remove this 0. Don't need to prefix this 0 at the front. Okay, it's good to use like this. Instead of 0.5 pixel, just remove this leading zeros while you are using the point values. So this would be a good practice. Okay, the first thing is, if the value is 0, don't specify any units. If the value is in front of 0, leading 0, then you can remove that leading 0. Okay, so coming to the CSS functions, where function. So let's learn something about CSS where function. So for example, what we have done here is, this is a grouping of CSS selectors. So we are taking header element. Okay, in that, all the anchor tags, when you hover on those anchor tags, you'll be getting the color and underline style for that. Also for the main, all the anchor tags under main element, we will be getting this styles for the footer as well. So what here we have done is a grouping. So most of the cases, this is like a repetition of the code. Okay, instead of this, you can do something more better than this, right? Like I will use a where function. Here I will mention all the parameters like header, map, and footer. So I can give all these things. And now here I can mention the anchor tag HOR, and I can copy these styles. So this is very much simple. So, and this is also same as this. So instead of repeating the code, selecting the element and hovering, uh, instead of repeating these lines, instead of repeating these CSS grouping lines, you can use where, and you can define what all the elements, CSS selectors you wanted to do this action. Okay, all the anchor tags, so under head, main, and footer will be applying these colors when you hover on this anchor tags. So this is similar to this. So it would be like a short, simple one. So in these cases, you can use CSS where functions. So coming to the HTML input attribute, like input mode attribute. So usually, input field. So if you give type, it will take that type. If the type is not there, so for example, if you have not mentioned the type, the default type is text. Fine, this is what we are aware of. But when you are using this input fields in the mobile application, for example, you have developed an web application with the HTML in the browser, in the web application in the laptop, it is fine. But if anyone opens that application in the mobile, then he needs to get the keyboard according to that input field. Okay, so that's the reason we have this input mode attribute. With the help of this input mode attribute, the users will get the appropriate keyboard keyboard in the mobile while he's using this input field. For example, I can tell this as input mode tell. So it means it will give the only numbers, because you said that my input field is a mode is a tell. It means you're trying to enter something, a telephone number. So that's the reason, when you enter this in the mobile, it will show you only the numbers. So likewise, you can, if you remove this and if you keep email ID, so then it will show you @ symbols and .com symbols as well. Okay, if you use URL and it will show you HTTPS and backslashes, colons, .com, everything will be shown here if you use this input modes. So these are the different input modes we can use in the applications, so that while the user open our application in the mobile, then he will be getting the keyboard according to this input mode. So this will be very much helpful for the users if he is using in a mobile and entering the input modes. Okay, so coming to the copy to the clipboard. So most of the cases we might have seen this functionality, and we know how to do this with the plain HTML as well. So earlier days we used to use this document dot execute. Okay, we'll be using this document dot execute command of copy. So this is what we used to do in the previous days. Okay, but we need to understand this is a synchronous action. So whatever you do here, you're taking the document and execute the command and copying that command, exact that command. So if you use this, what happens is this is a synchronous action. While if you're using this, it will stop the JavaScript in the page. It will not execute. If you write this code in any of the JavaScript page, line like this, it will stop at this point because this is in synchronous code. Okay, until this page is until this command functionality is done, it will stop that JavaScript code. Okay, so don't use this, and this is deprecated. Okay, so use something which is more like asynchronous clipboard API. So we have one more new one, that is async clipboard API. So that we'll be discussing now. So here we have taken a p tag, okay, and given one ID to that, and we have a button here. Okay, when you copy this text, we'll be copying this one. Okay, so we'll copy this to the clipboard. That is what we are going to do. So when you click this button, let's write the functionality to this. Let's write the handler here. If you click this button, we are going to copy this, and we are going to copy this to the clipboard. So write this, let's write a function to this. And now we'll be using the new asynchronous clipboard API. So let's understand what it is, and we'll use that. So I'm using a constant CB. So this is a clipboard. CB means we have a navigator function, navigator.clipboard. So this navigator.clipboard is the new API which works in terms of an asynchronous. It will work like an asynchronous method. Okay, fine. Now I will take a para. I will do like I will do document.query, and I will find document.selector, and I will find this paragraph with this ID. Okay, I will use this ID. What I'm doing is whenever a user clicks this copy text button, okay, I will trigger this method. In this method, what I'm doing is I'm using this navigator.clipboard. This is the latest async clipboard API. So once I'm get this object, so next what I'm doing, I'm finding this paragraph tag with the help of this ID. Okay, now in this para, we'll be having this ID. What I will do is cb dot write text. So this is a method we have. So this is a asynchronous method. So in this, you can take para dot inner text. You can write this as an inner text. Okay. Now what you will be getting here is you'll getting the inner text. So now I'm writing then. We are writing then and promise here because this is an asynchronous call. So let's alert this. So we have copied the text head. Just alert that to the screen. Para dot inner text. Okay, let's check whether it works or not. So this is very much simple. So we are just copying this text, paragraph text, when we click the button with this navigator clipboard asynchronous clipboard API. Okay, let's see this. So when I click this copy text, see npm install load. So this lodash, npm install lodash, this would be copied to the clipboard. Okay, so usually where we'll be using this one is like if you want to install something like lodash. So here you can see if you click here, so most of the time, yeah, this is a command. Okay, this is the command to copy the clipboard. So you'll be in these areas, if anyone clicks this button, you can use this logic and you can copy that to the clipboard, and they will be using that to paste in their command prompt. Okay, these are some of the interesting points which I have learned. So stay tuned to the channel. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe for the more videos.